What is going on, Tiger fans? Hope you're having a great night. Welcome to the All Clemson Show. This is our Death Valley Debates edition. We brought this back trying to provide a little bit more entertainment for this. But so we're going to dive right in to our debate. Brad, you're going to get started here. Your first topic for debate.
I wrote earlier this week about potential roadblocks for Clemson getting to the college football playoff, and one of those was Georgia. Number one was Georgia, not just because Clemson could lose that game, because technically Clemson could lose that game and still be in the college football playoff hunt, right? I think we all realize that. That being said, though, if Clemson does lose that game, and here's a scenario that actually could play out. What if Georgia ends up going undefeated and losing in the SEC championship game, and then they're both 12-1. One has a conference championship, one doesn't, but one has head-to-head over the other. What if the committee has to decide between those two teams? And I think the committee can lean toward the Bulldogs after that head-to-head. That would be detrimental and a huge blow to Clemson football.
Oh, you can be more wrong on this. I mean, here's the thing. First off, you're assuming that Georgia's going to be the non-SEC champ. Who's to say they won't be Alabama? Who's to say they won't win the SEC? So, I mean, that's one assumption you're making. But I think if anything taught us this past year is that the ACC can't afford to have a one-loss team. Clemson lost to Notre Dame last year, had to go back and beat them in the ACC tournament or ACC championship. So I think, look, if there was anything we learned last year, it was that
Notre Dame can last year. This ACC could be really bad. It could be absolutely horrific. And if Clemson cannot afford a mulligan, in my opinion, to anybody, or else it can hurt them come college football playoff time. This ACC is going to be bad this year, and that narrative is going to be built all offseason. So
Miami's going to be bad, North Carolina's going to be bad, all these teams are going to be bad?
They're not going to be elite. I mean, North Carolina, Miami might be, top 15, top 20, but Clemson doesn't play either one of those two teams on their schedule. They only get them in the conference championship game, potentially.
Yeah, the Clemson schedule is not very good next year, but I will just add this. So far in the playoff era, no one-loss ACC champion has been left out to date.
I think that could change this year.
That's why I made sure to add in there, not yet.
I like it.
All right. A hot topic of debate, on social media over the past couple of weeks for Clemson's losing streak in basketball has been Brad Brownell. As it typically is this time of year, Brownell is a hot topic among the Clemson fan base. And I have somehow unwillingly turned into a Brownell apologist. I'm not sure exactly.
You poor thing. You poor man.
That is a lonely road, Jason.
I know. I find myself defending him, and really I'm more so defending the school than I am him, because I understand why he got his extension after the Sweet 16 run. I want to say he had 1 year left on his deal after that season. I mean, you can't have a lame duck coach when supposedly Zion Williamson's telling everybody he's going to commit to you. You got to at least, show some commitment to the guy. I just, not to mention the fact, if you get rid of him, who are you going to hire? I just think that right now, Brad Brownell is the guy that should be coaching this team. All things considered, the way things have played out up to this point.
You say
all you have invested in him, you kind of got to let it play out now since you got such a, what is it, a $3 million buyout?
The buyout doesn't matter. You say right now, and I challenge you on right now, because this very moment in time, yes, I'm not talking coaching change right now on February the 3rd, but as I've always said, you have to evaluate at the end of the season every single year, the totality of the season. And if this team misses the NCAA tournament, we need to have that discussion. But I'm not doing it in February.
I totally agree. This is a team that started out 9-1. There is no excuse this team should not be in the NCAA tournament come March.
They're 11-5, guys. They just played Louisville, Duke, and North Carolina. They won 2 or 3. Don't give up on Clemson basketball quite yet, or Brad Brownell.
No, too bad. Look, I'm always an apologist for a guy on golf courses and buys a speeder. So, look, I'm on Brownell's side. So, now moving forward. All right, when you look at Deshaun Watson, the saga that's surrounding him right now. He's just accept where he needs to go. He needs to head to the Miami, to the Dolphins, and be a part of greatness. I mean, Brian Flores is a great head coach. They just have 2 offensive coordinators who are named co-offensive coordinator. I think he could go to the Dolphins right now and immediately compete for a playoff spot. I mean, look, the saga with him is over. I mean, you can't continue this mess with him. You've got to understand who you have. The Dolphins have plenty of draft picks in the first round to get him to Miami. I think he needs to accept it and move on. I mean, this Jets crap. I mean, who wants to go play for the Jets? I'm sorry. They're awful. And then when you look at the other teams, I mean, the Panthers, they're garbage. I mean, so why go to the Dolphins where you can compete immediately, win championships, and be great? I mean, he could go down as legendary. I mean, he could be the next Dan Marino. So you're shaking your head, bro.
Yeah, that's the problem, Zach. He's already on pace to be the next Dan Marino because Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. And Deshaun Watson's putting up killer numbers every year, just like Dan Marino did, and not winning Super Bowls. Don't go to Miami. That's not the best place for him. The best place for him is Las Vegas, Nevada, city of life. See, this is your bias kicking in. We all know you're a Dolphins fan, so you just on, so you can actually have a real quarterback and not have to rely on Tua Tagovailoa. We get it. The best place for Deshaun is Las Vegas with Gruden, with Mayock. They're a couple of defensive players away. That team can go to the Super Bowl. They can beat the Chiefs.
Please, come on. That's a joke right there. That's a joke. In Las Vegas, all you want to see is a Renfro and Watson hook up again. I mean, come on.
No, I just want an excuse to go to Vegas a couple of times a year so that I'm covering Deshaun Watson and Hunter Renfro. That's all I'm doing here. Our guys are coming out, guys. Come on. Let's be real.
I get the love fest with New York. You know, I mean, I know they've sucked for 20 years now, but if you can go to New York and win, man, you're going to be treated like a god.
That's a good
but
point.
if you go to New York and suck, you're going to be treated like garbage. I mean, so why would you want to take that risk?
Nobody cares about the Dolphins but you. They're irrelevant, Zach.
I hear you. You had to get the last word in.
All right, up next, baseball season about to get underway at Clemson, and clearly the last year did not end the way that anybody wanted to see it in, and Clemson was playing so well, and that pitching staff was absolutely a force to be reckoned with. Monty Lee fixed the team's biggest weakness last year. This year's so different with COVID, with pandemic, with lighter crowds, with all, guys not being able to play for almost an entire year since they've been able to play true baseball. I don't think we judge Monty Lee and his tenure. And I know a lot of people wanted to start putting him on the hot seat last year, and I thought that was a mistake then. I want to let the season play out, like I always say. Well, that didn't happen. So let's not carry over all that junk from last year to this year. There should not be any expectations on Monty Lee right now. There should not be any expectations on this baseball program as of now. Everybody should have a clean slate going into the 2021 baseball season, in my opinion. They've had to overcome so much.
Everyone always has a clean slate entering every season. The problem is Monty Lee has not gotten out of regionals. He's had multiple opportunities to do it. His teams have played great in the regular season, and in the postseason, they just seem to flounder. So to me, this isn't an issue with Monty Lee. His tenure, it's an issue is will his legacy be Jack Leggett? And that's something that you don't want.
I would love Jack Leggett's legacy. Are you killing me? Are you kidding me? Jack Leggett's a Hall of Famer. I would love that legacy. Yes.
All right, at the end of his career, I mean, you want him to be your coach? No, you don't. So
that program was not in the shambles that you're trying to make it out to be when Leggett left.
Yeah, I think this baseball program is definitely headed in the right direction. I think the pitching's gotten better with each year that Monty's been here. I think this is going to be the best year yet as far as the pitching goes. It's definitely a little early to start talking about replacing Monty Lee just because he hadn't gotten out of the regionals yet. I think that's coming, man. This team's going to be really good this year. But no, I'm with Brad. I don't think you can judge it based on this year.
Yeah, don't carry over things you had against Monty Lee last year and the year before into this year. Clean slate right now.
Here's the thing. All right, I'm going to end with this because I have the mic and I have the ability to mute everybody. So I'm going to finish on this note. Here's the issue. All right, I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. I'm not even saying he should be fired. What I'm saying is, you have to judge him based on this year. You can't say that this year's a free year, a free pass for him just because of COVID. I mean, you had football teams fire coaches because in the middle of COVID, you had basketball coaches fire. You cannot say just because of COVID and just because of the situations that are surrounding the program that he should get a pass. I think you have to hold him to a standard, whatever that standard is, the athletic department, I'm not sure. But Dan Rakovich and those guys have to be able to hold him the same standard they would in every other year, just like last year, and just like the year before that. So I can't see where you can say that he's free of any expectations this season. I think there has to be expectations on the program. The expectations are to win the ACC, to compete in regionals, and to win the super regional, or to make it out of the regional. I think that's a simple thing. Why else did they put Omaha on the back of their hat? I mean, shouldn't they put super regionals on the back of their hat?
Well, I mean, that's their problem. The bottom line is like, you're telling me if he doesn't have a regional, you think he should be fired at the end of the year?
No, I've not said that one time. What I've said is you're saying that you can't judge it, can't place expectation on the program this year because of COVID stuff. You have to have expectation on the program. You have to be able to have something to measure by. Otherwise, why do coaches get fired in football?
This isn't football, and they have not played baseball in nearly an entire calendar season. And I'm just saying you don't carry over the expectations and the hope from last year to this year until you see what the product looks like on the field and let it play out.
Oh, I completely agree with that. Completely agree. Yeah, no carryover expectations, but the expectations have to be for this season only. Good job, guys. All right, so Jason.
Yeah, another hot topic I've seen the last couple of weeks among the fan base is how Clemson and Dabo Swinney needs to start actively recruiting the transfer portal. And that's just something that I do not disagree. That is something I do not agree with at this point in time. You don't fix something that's not broken, man. There's nothing wrong with this football program. They got beat by a better team against Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Part of what this coaching staff sells these recruits on is the fact they're not going to just go out and find somebody in the transfer portal to take their place. I mean, you start fiddling with that, and you're walking a fine line. There was a lot of fans wanting Clemson to go out and get Arik Gilbert, the tight end that transferred out of LSU after one season. If you go do that, what are you going to tell Jake Brenningstool, the number one tight end in the country you just signed? What you going to tell him if you go pick up Arik Gilbert out of the transfer portal? Oops, sorry. I know we told you so-and-so, but we've changed our minds. I just think, if you're going to use it to fill holes, you don't need to actively recruit guys just because somebody might be in there.
I think the problem here, though, the problem I have with what you're saying is more and more guys are continually to leave the Clemson program. Guys are transferring out. And if that continues, you've got to replace and fill some holes somewhere. You can't always rely on a true freshman to come in and help out right away. That's why other schools actively use the transfer portal to fill in the blanks. Clemson had more transfers this year in the portal than we've seen in some past seasons. And there were some important players in there. A guy like DeMarcus Bowman leaves the program. There's a huge hole at running back, massive hole right now. And so if Will Shipley and Phil Maffa aren't, ready to go out the gate, puts a lot of pressure on a lot of players.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, if you got holes to fill, that's when you go to the transfer portal. When I say actively recruited, I should have let me clear that up. I mean, like, Arik Gilbert's in the transfer portal. Clemson hadn't lost any tight ends. That's not a guy you necessarily need to go out and get. I'm using him as an example.
Yeah, what you're saying is don't go get a guy just to go get a guy.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that I agree with. I buy that.
Absolutely. I want to say my little piece on this part, and then we'll dive into the last topic. The fact is, Clemson's been left behind in the transfer portal game. They've seen other teams go out there and actively use it to get better. While those teams are using the portal to get better, Clemson's handing out scholarships to walk-ons. I mean, so to me, that's a little bit of a disconnect. You have to always be willing to adapt. You have to be able to change with the times. I think Dabo is starting to do that. He's willing to look into the portal some, and having a guy, and Danny Pearman, who's going to leave the field and start to actually invest time in the portal. But the fact is, Clemson cannot continue to do things the way they always have done them and continue to compete at the level they are. I think that if they're going to continue to compete at a high level, they have to begin to at least explore the portal, which I think Dabo is starting to do. So I think it's a good thing for the Tigers to be investing in the portal because they've lost players to the portal, like Brad said. And look, the fact is, there are too many good players in the portal to not just ignore it and let your other teams pass you by.
And don't forget that COVID and the way that COVID has affected recruiting, there's going to be some holes in recruiting because you're not getting to analyze the players the way you're used to. You're going to miss on some guys that you traditionally don't miss on, I think, because of recruiting. So you may have to fill some holes that way too.
Absolutely, you will. Our last topic, Travis Etienne. Derrick Henry came out with a little piece the other day, and he said that Travis Etienne and Najee Harris were first-round picks in his mind. I could not disagree more. Travis Etienne, while he's the best running back in ACC, running back in Clemson history, he is not a first-rounder after this year. I think he wanted to come back and show that he was a first-rounder, and whether it was offensive line's fault or his fault for coming into camp a little bit light, he didn't have the season running the ball that he needed to have to be a first-rounder. I think you have other guys that are first-rounders. Maybe Najee Harris is one of them. But Travis Etienne didn't do enough in this season, I think, to warrant a first-round pick, in my opinion.
Well, I think Derrick Henry was trying to make a statement that, hey, quit buying this narrative that running backs don't matter enough to be taken in the first round. So he was kind of standing up for the position. I don't really think Travis Etienne's a first-round pick. And it doesn't matter if I would draft him in the first round or not. I just don't think any NFL teams will draft him in the first round because of the way running backs are and the volatility of the position. You've been hard, Zach, on Etienne all year. I don't think he had near as bad a year as you did, but I do think he should have come out last year, and I said that then, and I stick to it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a first-round pick either, and that's not a knock on him. It's just more of a sign of the way the NFL's evolved and how the league views running backs at this time. They're just not the hot commodity they were at one time. Very few running backs are getting picked high in the draft anymore, and Travis Etienne, he's just not that special he's not that much different than every other back in the draft.
Now, if the Dolphins draft Travis Etienne, Zach, you have to take back every negative thing you've ever said about Travis. Fair?
Look, he'll be a future all-pro guy. I mean, he'll be a future Hall of Famer in the NFL if he goes to the Dolphins.
Yeah, but that means they didn't get Watson. So tough break.
Gosh, that hurts, man. That hurts. Listen, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight on All Clemson Show Death by Debate Edition. We have tons of stuff coming up on the site for you rest of this week. We have Super Bowl coverage. We have some grades from defensive players and a lot more coming out. But, guys, anything y'all want to close with as we close out the show?
No, just be in tune what's going on this weekend, especially. There's going to be a lot going on with the Super Bowl. And don't forget, Clemson basketball has got Syracuse on Saturday. The Tigers win that one, and I think they've stamped their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Hot take.
Gosh, that is a hot take.
I'll just say shout out to Kevron there. He's over there commenting about today being signing day, and I know we didn't talk about it on the show, but I'm going to write something about Clemson's quiet signing day here in the next couple of days for you, Kevron.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. For everybody out there, be safe out there. Wear your mask, and look, get the vaccine if you can get it. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Thanks so much.